Everybody, welcome to this week's Bear Facts Friday for June 12th, 2020. Thank you so much for tuning in. Going to filter the information, offer some perspective, and Lisa's going to drop some knowledge, or some of you may refer to it as wisdom, on us. So this big news this week and last week, payroll protection program changes. So changes that are favorable to you, the small business owner. You now have 24 weeks to pay back the money, or excuse me, to use the money, not pay back the money, use the money, 24 weeks. And instead of it 75% having to go towards payroll, now only 60% has to go towards payroll costs. The other costs can be rent, profit sharing plans, retirement plans, things of that nature. So that is, that is all good news for for the consumer, for the individuals that got the PPP loan. And then this isn't confirmed, but I think everybody that got under $150,000, which was like 85% of the people, they weren't even going to audit and just forgive, because the cost to do that would be so astronomical that they're probably just going to waive it. At least I was reading an article that suggested that's what they should do, because it would just be too cost prohibitive. So that is the update regarding the PPP. Mark, give us perspective.
All right, thanks, Kenny. This week, I want to talk about tune-ups as opposed to last week was trade-offs. So I feel like this is the time now where people are, transitioning to get back to the old normal, we'll call it, in various ways, whether you're back in the office or whatever other changes have been there. So I thought it was a good time to have a bit of reflection on, how the past couple of months have been. And you can parlay this tune-up into any number of areas. The first could be lifestyle changes. Like, did you say that you wanted to exercise more or eat better while you may have been home for a couple months? And how did that go? What was the end result with that? Same thing with how you spend your time. I know one of my just constant New Year's resolutions and ongoing goals is to spend less time on my phone or on social media or something like that. So judging, how did you spend your time? Were you smart, wise with your time? Were you productive, or were you fiddling your thumbs or doing something less productive? And then this also, most importantly, I think, applies to the financial world. Now that you've kind of been through the valley and maybe you're back on the up and up to some certain extent, or have recovered to some certain extent, now is a really great time to really sit down and analyze, how did that go? Did my financial plan work how I expected it to in a time of crisis? Did the different moving parts perform how I had hoped that they would? Or maybe you realize that, hey, I'm missing something, or that things didn't perform or act how I thought that they would, or they were out of my comfort zone. So all of these types of things, now is a great time to do this sort of tune-up, whether it's your personal or your financial or anything in between. So that's my perspective for this week.
Thanks, Mark. March 16th. For many of us, working from home became a new reality, whether we asked for it or not. We all talk about it, wouldn't it be great? And lo and behold, it was dumped in our laps all of a sudden. And initially, it seemed like everybody was kind of taking it in stride and keeping their good humor about it. And we joked about the worst decision, or the hardest decision of the day, being whether or not we were going to put on matching sweats or not, or just go potluck and grab whatever was on the top of the stack. But in reality, there were a lot of people that were frantically trying to figure out how they were going to juggle homeschooling their children, managing those routines, trying to find enough hours in the day to actually keep up with the demands of their office, and then maintain the minimal household requirements like doing laundry. Then there's the Maxines of the world who thought, yes, I'm going to get to sleep an hour later. I can grab my coffee and run to the keyboard and squeeze out a few things, and maybe jump up and down off and on during the day and do my laundry. And tried to resist the urge whether or not they were going to take the dog out for its third walk of the day. But in the reality, what happens is we find ourselves thrown into these new routines, and as time drags on, some of the ugly habits, hazards of working from home can rear their ugly heads. And you find yourself doing things that you wouldn't normally do. And all of a sudden, Tuesdays look a lot like Saturdays, which looks like Wednesday, and that becomes Sunday. And you don't know what day of the week it is. You don't know how many weeks this has gone on, and things are just all out of balance for you. Some of a few suggestions for maintaining a healthy work-life balance would be, be deliberate about separating, giving your weekdays a separate identity. Instead of resist that urge to grab your morning cup of joe and head to the straight to the computer and jump right on into your day while you're still in your pajamas. Get dressed. Use a wardrobe to actually separate and set the tone for your day. I know it's tempting to work in pajamas, but save those PJ days for Saturdays. You'll find that you're going to appreciate the end of the day by getting into your work clothes. Maybe it's not your normal work clothes. Maybe it's a Bear Wolf t-shirt, golf shirt instead. But at least get out of your pajamas and get into something that's more work appropriate, so that you can save that wind down time for later in the afternoon. And then try to avoid doing your household chores in the middle of your work day. It's okay to get your laundry started in the morning or get the dishes out, dishwasher emptied, but then use that main chunk of your day to focus on work, so that you're not bouncing up and down, and because you're just losing time and it's not really efficient. Then when you get to the weekends, now you make those are your PJ days. Plan your special family activities. Do what you can to really segregate and keep the identity of Saturday and Sunday sacred, if you will, and use that time to reconnect with your family. Create family reunions. I have somebody, one of my neighbors is working on putting a virtual reunion together in July, so I think that's going to be really exciting to see. Virtual happy hours are a big thing right now. Some of the other things that I know people are doing is having recreating their version of a Sunday dinner, family Sunday dinners, and having everybody at least online, chatting. Maybe they're just having hors d'oeuvres or a glass of wine, but the whole family is together. Last weekend, my granddaughter had a violin concert, and it was really nice that all of my family was able to be together and share in that experience. So regardless of your scenario, whether you're that mom coming through or dad coming through the homeschool, just wrapping up your homeschooling experience, or you're one of the Maxines of the world that gets that extra hour of sleep, do try to take the time to make Monday through Friday look like a normal Monday through Friday, and balance that out with your Saturday and Sunday, so that eventually when you do find yourself transitioning back into that work life, that more normal office type work scenario, it's not going to be as hard to readjust.
All right. Thanks so much, Lisa. That was great. Some really good advice, as always, that we appreciate. So that's what we've got for you for this Friday, June 12th. Hope that you've enjoyed it. And we hope that everyone has a great weekend as well.